In this video, we are going to be covering what's going on in the NFT and crypto market, some major sales when it comes to art NFTs, as well as some up-and-coming projects that you definitely need to watch out for. All right, first thing we got to do is we got to cover what is going on in the markets. For the most part, compared to a couple days ago, everything is steady at that 1.3. Nothing crazy going on, a little bit of a pump, but for the most part, everything is kind of moving sideways. Nothing new really going on when it comes to how much volume is moving into the NFT space and how much money are people are spending. When we look at the fear and greed index, things are very fearful, as they kind of are, right? Not too much movement going on, but there are a lot of people still building in the space. The space is not dead. We're just in that bear period where people are just a little more tighter with their money. They're not sure what's going on with the economy. That's just what it is. So even with that said, there has been a major NFT sale by Tylerhobss, who recently just sold his second collection of 900 NFTs at 14 ETH each, so raising a total of 12,600 ETH. I don't think the collection is actually reviewed when I went on their website, but the generative art does look pretty cool. Now, is it going to be worth that much money? It's all subjective, and it really all depends on how much marketing this project does for their project to create value from it. But that's pretty crazy that even during a bearish market, this project was able to sell $17 million of artwork, and at the same time, there's no promised utility or things like that, because this is art after all, right? So it's not like a project where they promise a metaverse game. It's literally just art. Now, Tylerhobss, if you don't know who he is, he created this project called Fidenza, which a lot of people find valuable. You can see that's 51,000 Ethereum in volume. The floor price is going to be 95 Ethereum for the floor, right? So these are definitely not cheap for sure. Some people consider this one of the grails when it comes to generative art. And so if your floor price for your first collection is ridiculously high, then, a lot of people want to buy into that second collection, right? That's just typically how it goes. Now, the thing you have to understand about art in general is that the reason for why art is valuable, and if you read many different books on contemporary art, you will also find this information. It's that the people that push the art, who have a financial incentive to make this project with artists popular, they do have financial incentives to do that, whether it's to create multiple collections in the future, whether it's they already bought a bunch of Fidenza, for example, at a lower price, and then they can increase the popularity and value of it, and then maybe one day sell it at a profit. And the thing that people don't realize about art is that the value of art is actually based on the gallery or the marketing and sales and the PR behind the artist, right? So it's not as if someone comes out with art and then suddenly it's so valuable. It's that they come out with something that people think has legs, and then somebody in the back end has to push it and make it valuable for the market, right? And a lot of times art is a way for people to signal status, and for people that do have money, right? For example, it's like, who's the audience that would buy Fidenza? Who's an audience that would buy their second collection? It's people that already have money. Their circle, everyone has money. So money actually is a commodity. It's not really that special anymore if everybody has it. And then you have to get certain pieces, certain arts, certain things that say, hey, I am better than you because I have this thing, I have taste, and you don't have one, right? If you read a lot of contemporary art books, especially about how galleries are able to take unknown artists and make them popular, that's essentially what they are doing. Hey, maybe I might be wrong. Maybe I'm not an expert in art, but if you kind of just look at history, you'll find the patterns repeat. Now, speaking of art, the MoMA is actually going to be selling $70 million of art in order to buy digital art and purchase NFTs. And this is actually quite bullish for the NFT space for art specifically, because MoMA, obviously one of the more influential art galleries, and I definitely have been there quite a lot when I used to live in America. The fact that they would be selling some of the art to buy digital art, pretty cool. But you have to understand that, they probably have like billions of dollars of art. So this is maybe a drop in the bucket, but it is a start. So maybe they're going to buy CryptoPunks. Maybe they're going to buy Fidenzas. Maybe they're going to buy something, right? If MoMA, kind of like an influential institution that can make certain pieces more valuable by putting it in their museum and things like that, if they put NFTs in their museum and gets more people attracted and more money into the space, that might be bullish for the space in general, not just art, but for NFTs as a whole industry, and legitimizing it in a way if it's in the MoMA, right? So the way I look at it, the more these institutions want to adopt NFTs and put it in their museum, the better, right? And actually, one of my friends, DeFi Brian, actually went to the museum, the Broad in LA. I've actually been there myself. Actually, it's a pretty cool museum, and it's also free as well. They actually put the Takashi Murakami Clone X merchandise in this museum, and I don't know if they still have it now, but I remember a few years ago they did have the Takashi Murakami exhibition there. It makes sense that they would sell, some of the merchandise there, right? All right, so now moving to the next topic, we are going to be talking about Pixelmon. So Pixelmon is recently going on a press campaign release where they're letting everyone know that they have new leadership. Now, they actually had new leadership for quite a while, but I suppose that they want to make a more of a splash and remind people that, hey, Pixelmon is not a rug anymore. Liquid X is going to be, I guess, Web3 venture or studio or however you want to call it, that is going to be running this. So essentially, they're going to have new leadership. They're building a free-to-play game, and then it's going to be an MMORPG. They updated their website, kind of showing people that it's going to be a whole different kind of deal. They got an updated roadmap. Really, they're just building out the game, building out the assets, and it seems like for the next few months, it's really just going to be creating more and more assets until January 2023, which hopefully we will have the alpha of the game game. They're gonna have a token as well and land sales, so selling more assets to fund the game. I'm not necessarily sure because they already have so much money from the mint, but hey, you know, maybe listen to the Twitter Spaces to see what they're thinking over there. The floor has increased a bit with 0.4. There definitely is more volume than there was not too long ago. So interesting stuff. We'll see how it goes. If you're interested, just check them out, see and follow along. So the next project we're going to talk about is going to be Balmain, which launches an NFT membership program. You know, if you're into luxury, I suppose you probably do already know what it is. It's going to have 10,000 NFTs in this membership program, and supposedly it's going to give you a variety of awards, including new NFT drops. And it seems like what they're trying to do is they want to make sure that even if you don't know what an NFT is or don't know how to use crypto, you can probably pay for it, probably using like credit card or something like that. Definitely interesting that luxury brands are entering the space. We actually have seen that Balmain has entered this space already, and they have done like these collaborations with different artists and sold these things as NFTs. You know, honestly, I think it's more like positioning, showing people that they're an innovator in a space, trying something new in a small way without like risking too much. And I think the challenge for luxury brands is you don't want to just come out with a membership card where it's the same as like literally like a Web2 membership card where you get a discount, right? So I think they're gonna have to come up with something a little more special, a little more Web3 native to make a splash in the space. And by the way, this week we actually did an Azuki deep dive on Twitter Spaces. So it was actually me, Tubasa, and then Throne actually came on as well, where we talked everything Azuki, the good and the bad. We're probably gonna do more of these spaces in the future, and this one was actually really good because we have a lot of Azuki holders there, a lot of people from different communities, whether it's the Parallax, Carfu people, the Clonex people as well. So a mix of different people for sure. Even some of the co-founders actually hopped on and had a conversation with us, which was pretty amazing as well. So we're probably gonna do more of these for different projects in the future. So if you're interested in deep dives and talking about projects in depth and being honest about it, this was like a 2.5 hour space. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, where you're gonna get the latest announcements on when these spaces are happening. The next project we're gonna talk about is gonna be Ether. We did talk about them before on the channel, but there's some information that people are kind of talking about, speculating on. Nobody really knows what the utility and what direction the project is gonna take, but obviously it's gonna be anime. They have came out with some animations. A lot of it is just art, right? But based on the background of the founders, which is gonna be 8 and Crypto Valley, I feel like it's gonna be like anime combined with luxury, combined with NFTs, because we've seen that this guy has definitely put out some cool stuff on the Foundation app before. I mean, he's done some of these custom designs with like using a Nike Air Force and putting the anime on top of it. And it seems like he's working pretty hard on the art, right? So some of the art teasers that we have are this one with no hair. The lines are really clean, looks pretty cool. We have this ghost looking Grim Reaper kind of one, right? We have the schoolgirl one, which has like Capri Sun, and apparently this one is going to be the floor. And they are going to be opening their Discord soon, so you definitely want to check out their Twitter if you are interested in that. But for me, you know, it's like I like anime. Luxury product is kind of cool, so I want to see how they combine these two together. Is this going to be an anime? Like they're going to make something? Are they going to just make clothes? Don't really know, right? But I think right now they're just focused on the quality of the art and trying to get people excited and get them to mint, and then from there they'll probably figure it out. But I'm sure they have a plan for this. So, you know, shout out to Ether. Best of luck moving forward, and check it out if you are interested. All right, next project we're going to talk about is going to be the Littles. So at the time of this recording, the mint might be already happening, but they put out this trailer where they're going to be doing their mint and their playlist access. So it's animation, quite interesting that they definitely have put a lot of work into this. They have a sup duck over here where this Little is wearing the sup duck thing. Cool cat collaboration. I think there's going to be like Cyber Kongs, Kaiju King. So it's quite interesting because during this time when they started working on it, you know, those were the hot projects. It was Cyber Kongs, Cool Cats, sup ducks, Kaiju Kings, essentially, right? And the space definitely has changed quite a bit since then. So I'm curious to see like how people react to this. I'm curious to see how big of a splash they will make. But if you have a Littles and you're interested in this, make sure to check it out. And so with that said, that is everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And I will see you in the next one.